Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Fahd Dawood. I've been doing real estate internationally for 14 plus years. I talk about Dubai, international real estate, your life and my life, and our path to financial bliss. Look, I've got one of services that I offer to select clients, and that's to help them negotiate the best pricing possible. Sometimes clients will come to me and they'll say, look, we've already gone through the entire process of what we want, what we've selected, and what we want to buy, and we've identified this perfect villa or this perfect apartment or this perfect townhouse or this piece of land or this building that we want to buy. We just want to make sure that we're getting the best price. Look, I've been doing real estate for so long that I've seen all kinds of negotiations. I've seen stubborn negotiators, like sellers who won't budge an inch. Seen buyers who've been very stubborn and won't budge an inch. And then because of this entire gamut of experience, like 14 plus years, I've been in the middle of so many negotiations that I know how to bridge the gap, bring them close together, close to deal where each buyer and seller are happy. Okay, generally speaking, on the service, the buyers are the ones who engage me, and I'm going to give you one case study of one of my buyers. We ended up saving about $200,000. I think we saved approximately between 700,000 plus or minus dirhams, which is approximately $200,000, which $200,000 might not seem that much, but in Dubai, 700,000 or shaving that off a villa is quite a lot, especially when my buyers were actually willing to pay the price and just get it done with, because they're just super wealthy. They didn't have the time or the patience to go through the entire process of me negotiating and bringing the price down, because this negotiation went on for about 2 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks, and they were just in super hurry to get the villa. And I said, look, just calm down, let me do the process, and I'll save you a few, bob, some quid. Okay. I'll tell you, in my personal opinion, there's three things, and then there's a lot of nuances that come in the middle. There's three things that if you can concentrate on, you will be in a better position to be able to negotiate, right? Everybody says this, but everybody doesn't apply this. Knowledge is power, correct? Let's talk about not just knowledge being power, but also knowing how to leverage that knowledge in the right way using the right tool. So let's come to the first point. Knowledge being power. There's two things that as a buyer you must learn about before you start negotiating with the seller. Number one, the seller's situation. How long have they been in the market looking to sell that property? How badly do they need to actually sell? How motivated they are? What offers have they received previously? If the seller is selling multiple properties, what lowest price point have they actually sold their property for? Who's representing them, and how well the person who's representing them knows the seller? Like, how well, when the representative comes to you and speaks, is he representing the actual decision maker from the seller? Now, sometimes you might, right at the start, want to sit with the decision maker. I don't recommend that. I would always recommend the general and the president, when let's use this example, on the battlefield, aren't at the front of the army. The general, the president, the people who lead the army are generally always in the background, allowing the infantry, the people who do the recon work, the spies, allowing the armory, the tanks to do the front work, right? That's where your agent comes in. You allow the agent to go in, perhaps even meet the decision maker or his or her representative, and kind of like butt heads in the beginning to gather all that information that's going to help you further in the negotiation process. So number one, knowledge about the seller's situation. Number two, knowledge about the market. Okay, now most international developed countries have market data freely available on what a particular property sold at. Now, in real estate, there's a lot of nuances, okay? The stock market, for instance, you could look at the ticker and today you'd know what price Apple is going to sell at. So you can go and buy pretty much as much of Apple stock that you're looking at that price. With real estate, there's nuances and there's differences, yet there is market data available. I'll give you an example. If there's a community, a high-end community with 80, 100 villas, okay? You could easily look at transactions that have happened in the past 3 to 6 months in that community and get to a stage where you'll understand what pricing generally should be in that community. Then you can use scripts that I use to interview specialists, agents of that community who've sold villas in the last 3 months or 1 month or 2 months. And generally, I provide this in my training. Knowing a specialist, there's just 3 or 4 questions that you need to ask them. Like, how long you've been in the community, how many listings do you have, what's the last villa that you sold, tell them your villa that you're looking at, and they should know exact story on that villa, and this guy's an expert, and then you can ask them what the pricing should be. So you've got market data of actual transactions, you've got human word of pricing that the villas are sold at. Last but not the least, you will take into account special situations with the villa. Is it perhaps the villas that are sold in the last 3 months, none overlook the golf course, but yours does, right? Boom, $500,000 perhaps more in terms of pricing, okay? Perhaps there's no marble flooring in the other villas and yours has that, right? Boom, maybe that goes up by 30,000 dirhams. Why do I say marble flooring will only cause a 30,000 dirham jump? Is because sometimes the seller might have made improvements that are very close to their heart and they like them, but you don't like them. Perhaps you're going to turn it upside down and strip away the marble flooring. I don't know. So you don't give too much money away on individual changes that the seller might have made. Okay, so this is how you come to a middle ground of what the pricing for that property should be. So what did I tell you? Knowledge is key, right? So you've got knowledge is power. Number 1, you've got the situation of the seller and you understand it intricately. Why is he selling, right? Number 2, you know the market situation. Now, they always say knowledge is power. I add a little bit extra to this. Knowledge is power, maybe in some instances, but true power comes from leveraging that knowledge, okay? How do you use this knowledge to leverage the situation? This is what I do. I always use something called the offer to purchase in the Dubai market. Now in Toronto, in the US, generally, all buyers give a written offer, generally speaking, not always, a written offer binding them to that offer. That's not the case in Dubai. A lot of times in Dubai, you still give offers over the telephone, and that just doesn't move the needle for the seller, right? Because an offer on the phone sometimes is not worth the phone call it's made on or the words that were used to carry that offer. What I always use with my investors, with my buyers, is use an offer to purchase document that I've prepared. It's taken me ages to get it perfect, down to, like, it just moves the seller in ways that otherwise verbal offers won't, right? And I use an actual check presented to the seller to show them how serious my buyer is, and then now the game really begins. And the last but not the least, the surprise I always keep behind me is getting the buyer to come to the negotiating table right at the end, so that the seller now feels there's nothing more that we can pay for his property, and that's the best deal he's going to get. Obviously, there's rounds of negotiations that happen, right? So this one particular villa that I was talking about, where we saved 700,000 plus, took 2.5, 3 weeks, right? Because we're going back and forth. Sometimes you want to let the offer marinate on the side of the seller. Sometimes you want to let the buyer not respond immediately, because it makes you sound super desperate, and then the price ain't going to come down. But obviously you got to balance all of this with the fact that the property could get sold to somebody else, so you don't want your buyer to lose out either. So it's a balancing act, but if you follow a process, you're going to be bound to get the best price possible. Hit the subscribe button, press the bell icon. Catch you on the other side. Bye for now.